Alright, so let's get started with the first assignment. So both assignments, by the way, guys, are here under the Arrays Assignments section of Week 8. So in the first assignment, guys, you're going to use the data found in Week 8. So pause for a second. Code needed for assignments. So there's going to be this is like a list of names, and then in the other array we have a 2D array of marks. Okay, so we're going to copy this and paste this into our assignment just to preload all the names and the marks for each student. So the names is a 1D array of 20 students. I believe it's 20, isn't it? Yeah, 20 students. And then each student has its own row or its own array of 4 marks. So this is a 2D array of 20 marks by 4 marks each, right? So 20 students marks, and then each student has 4 marks. So it's a 20 by 4 2D array. So we're going to load all that stuff up, and let me just continue here with the assignment. We're going to declare the variables as static. That way we don't need to send them into methods. We are going to use some methods though. So for example, we're going to create like a menu method that's going to print all the names and like a menu selection from 1 to 20 beside each name, and then we're going to enter a choice 1 to 20, and then so say I want to see the report card 4-6 Mary Connor, right? So then, or say, who did I choose? Paula Frew. So what number was she in here? 8. So I chose 8, and then it comes back, clears the screen, and it shows me her report card and her average, and then I can press any key to continue, or enter rather, and then it comes back and draws the message again, or the menu, and then I can hit 0 to quit the program. Okay, so it's in like a loop here. So the methods that we're going to use is one that's for menu, and it's going to return the choice that the user made. So this whole menu is being drawn in the method, and then it's going to return the number I picked from like 1 or 0 to 20, I guess. And then whatever we get back, it's going to do something with that. And then we're going to send that number, if it's a valid number, into the report card, and then it's going to basically print the report card. So that's going to be a void method that takes a single integer to print the report card. So we are going to be practicing our methods a bit with this as well. And then we're going to load the data in an initial method called load data. All right, so over here in BlueJ, I've started a report card program, which is just a console application. Okay, so if you want to pause the video and start with that, you can. All right, so maybe I'll come down here first and I'll go like public static void load data. Right, and then we're going to basically load our data into there. Okay, now load data is going to be filling 2 different arrays. I'm going to declare them up here as static. So remember that word static, and if we declare them at the very top of my screen here, outside of all methods, these variables can now be used in any method within the program. Okay, so I'm going to have a string variable called names. It's going to be an array. Okay, equals a new string, and I have to establish a size of it, which is going to be for 20 students. Okay, I'm also going to have a static global variable, which is going to be int, called marks. I believe it's called marks. Let me just check the data here one more time. Yes, marks. So that's going to be 2 dimensions, equals a new int, and it's going to be 20, which is 20 students, and then each student has 4 marks. All right, so now I'm going to grab the code and throw it into here for load data. All right, so see all the stuff here? Just going to grab all of that just down to there, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to paste it right into here, just like that. Okay, so if it comes in a little bit crooked, you can always straighten it up a little bit if you need to. So that basically does it. All right, now this is a separate method, so it won't actually work until I load the data in here. So maybe while I'm at it, guys, I'm going to create a static console, because I'm going to be using this console C in different areas. So I'll make it down here. I'll say C equals new console. That's fine. And then I'm going to call load data. Okay, so as of that line of code, all this data is now loaded into my arrays. This just saves us the time having to enter like 20 students and then 4 marks per student. I thought it was easier to do it this way. Now, one thing of particular note, which is kind of different, is we know that a 2D array is an array of arrays, but here's another example. We haven't seen this ever before. So marks at location 0 equals a new array of these marks. So it's a way, now I'm not saying it's going to be 4, but I did say 4 up here. But basically I have to do it like this. I have to declare it as a new int and then put these in. Okay, this is just kind of a weird way that we have to write it, because it's going into another array. So mark 0 contains this array of 4 integers. So there's another way where you can see that it's like an array of arrays. Alright, so now that we've done that, let's work on the menu. Okay, now I have kind of pre-baked this code, and I'm going to just sort of bring bits of it over here so that you don't have to see me type it all. And then of course you can pause anytime and you can get caught up on this stuff too. Okay, so I'm going to bring over some of this draw menu, just this part right here. So I'm just going to bring this in, and of course I'll go over it with you. Basically that. Okay, I'm still going to get an error, but that's okay. This is enough to get me started. Okay, so the way draw menu works is it's going to be a void method. So remember how we start these methods? We go public static return type, which in this case is int, because we're going to return the choice eventually, and then draw menu. It doesn't require anything to go into it. Now the reason it's giving me an error right now is because I'm missing a return type. Okay, so because I said I'm going to return an int, I have to return something. So for now, guys, I'm just going to return 0. All right, so I have a variable called x, which is my counter. Okay, so this is going to draw the number 1, and then beside it will be the name. Now look at how I'm traveling through. So I'm finally getting to do this this way of traveling through the array. So I'm saying let name be a string that's represented by each name in the named list. Okay, so this is another way that we can travel through an array. Okay, so now I can use name instead of like names at location X or Y or whatever. Okay, so I'm printing like a number like 1 and then arrow and then the variable name. And name is going to represent each name one at a time through the list of names. And then I'm adding 1 to X so that I can print like menu item 2 and 3 and so on, all the way up to I guess 20. Okay, so to show that this works, and I need to return 0 because it's got an int, right? But I can just call it by going like this, guys, draw menu. Okay, and that's enough that I can just sort of see what this looks like. Okay, so if I run this now, you'll see each of the names. Okay, so there's my program so far. All right, now we know that the numbers are off by 1. Right? I just want to make sure that you're clear about that. So we know that the locations actually go 0 to 19, but we don't want our user to see 0 to 19, so we're printing the numbers 1 to 20, right? But if I enter, like, say, number 10 for Greg Hines, we know, you and I, that that's actually number 9. Like it's in location 9 in the array. So whatever I enter, I have to subtract 1 from that to get to that location, okay? So we also want to make sure, guys, that they enter a valid number between, like, say, 0 and 20. Because 0 is going to be, of course, the quit, right? Because that was part of the menu's job, is to also display that that message as part of the menu. Okay, so let's just quickly finish that off. Okay, the rest of this. Okay, so I'm not going to return 0. I'm basically going to go like c.print line, or no, I guess just c.print, right? And we'll say like enter 1 to 20 because that's the menu items we have. Right, or 0 to quit. Okay, so what can we do now? Well, we can trap them inside of a while true loop. In fact, why don't we put that up here? We'll say while true. Okay, and they're going to stay here until they give us a number that we can work with. Okay, so we'll say like choice equals c.readInt, right? And then we'll say like if choice is greater than or equal to 0 and choice is less than or equal to 20, then we're good to go. So we'll just break. And if we don't break, it'll just come up and keep asking me until we get a number we're looking for. Right now, before we go to return choice, or as we return choice, I guess, we want to take 1 off of choice, right? So we're going to go down here, we're going to say like choice minus minus, and again that's because the menu items are off by 1 from the array, so we got to take 1 away from choice, and then we can return choice. Okay, so then up here when I call menu, right, I can say like int my choice equals draw menu. Okay, so my choice will be the number I get back from here. All right. Now I'm also going to put this inside of another while true loop, and you'll see why in just a second. Okay, so I'll just put this, just tab this over here, and I'll move this over like this. Okay, now how do we know that we want out of this program? Well, if we get back a choice of -1, so if my choice equals -1. Now why -1? Well, we told the person up here to enter a 0 to quit. So if they entered a 0, it's now a -1 thanks to this line of code. So up here in main, we know that -1 means to actually quit the program. So we're just going to say break. Okay, now if we don't break, then we're going to basically send in that choice to another method, which is going to draw the report card. All right, now I've got that method already pre-baked and ready to go as well. So I'm going to make some room here for it. Okay, maybe I'll go over the signature with you. Okay, so this is going to be a void method, so public static void, we'll call it like print report. Okay, and then we have to send in like s or some variable which represents the choice or the student number that we're choosing. So I'll say like snum for student number that we're looking at. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go into the marks array at whatever location, like the first dimension will be the student number, and then the 4 marks we get back in this dimension are the 4 marks for that student, and then we're going to print those 4 marks. All right, so to save us a little bit of video time here, I'm going to paste in my code, and then we'll go through it, and then you can pause if you need to and get that in there. So I'm just going to come in here, and I will get that. So get report card. Actually, well, okay, I put in a whole bunch of fancy stuff as well, so we'll just do all of that here. So I'll just paste it into here, and I'll explain it to you line by line. All right. And I know I'm going a lot faster than you can type. I understand that, so we'll take our time. So we're going to print the report card, and I guess I used S. I didn't use snum, so I'm going to change this back to S again. Okay, so report card forward names at S. So remember, if I chose 12, because it's 12 on the menu, it's now an 11, so this is going to be names at location 11, which is still the same person whose number I picked from the menu, right? Then I'm going to print like a little bit of a separator here. All right, and then we got to go into the marks array at that location of S and go through 0 to 3 to get those marks. Okay, so here's what that looks like. 0 to 4 or less than 4. Okay, and basically we're going to say and I'm just going to use period 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0 to 4, I'm going to say again. I don't want to say period 0, so I'm going to make that x plus 1 just to make it a 1 to 4. And then marks at location student, and then x. Remember, student would be like, say, student 9 or 10, and then x would be marks 0, 1, 2, and 3, all right? Because marks is a 2D array, and the first dimension is this, like the dimension which matches up with the student, so the row we're in, and then this is the 4 items that go across that row, right? And then we're just adding up the 4 marks in that inner array to an average, and then we're calculating the average, and then we are printing another line, and then we're just printing the average, and then printing another line, and then this is a little trick I learned about pausing the program. So then we can say press enter to continue and go c.getChar. All right, so that's just a way to wait for like any key or an enter, and as soon as we press enter, it'll just keep going on its way. All right, so and then from here it'll come back up and it'll just do its thing again. All right, so maybe what we'll do up here too, guys, is we'll go like c.clear. So whenever the loop starts again, c.clear is the console's way of clearing the console. Okay, so it's kind of a nice, easy way to clear everything up. So just go like that. So if my choice equals 1, break. If not, we're going to now call print report. Okay, so I'm going to call it by going print report, and I'm going to send in my choice. Okay, so it's going to print this report card, and it's going to send in the choice that I made. All right, and then once it prints it, it's going to like pause, and then it's going to basically come back up. Okay, so maybe what we'll do here is we'll also, maybe the first job of print report will be like another c.clear. We want a clear screen for the report card. So we'll clear the screen, print the report card. When they press any key down here, remember we're calling this from inside of a loop, right? So that it's going to come back up here, and after it prints the report card, it's going to clear the screen again, and it's going to draw the menu. Now, I just realized we don't necessarily need to load this data inside the loop. That's a one-time thing. So I'll take this out and put it up here, because once we load the data once, we're good to go. All right, so that looks a little bit better. All right, so that should work. So here again, I'll just kind of pose this code here for you, because I know I went through it kind of fast. So this is what the print report could look like, something like this. All right, and I explained it all to you hopefully, it makes a little bit of sense. I know 2D arrays, they can be a little bit tricky at times because we're looking at like a row and a column, right? So just one more time, S is the student number, okay, like student 7, and then X is the 4 marks, 0 to 3, of that student's marks, okay? And remember, it's basically organized like this, right? So student 7 would be like Paula Frew, and then mark 7 would be these 4 marks here, okay? So this would be like 7, 0, 7, 1, 7, 2, 7, 3. Okay, in fact, we could try Paula Frew and we can see if we get these numbers. Let's try that now. I want to make sure that this is working for us, guys. So I will run this program. Hopefully there are no errors. Okay, so enter 1 to 20 or 0 to quit. So I'm going to enter 8, but we know Paula Frew is in 7. So enter, and there's her report card. And then press enter to continue, and we're back to the main menu again. All right. Now, if I enter a number like 77, right, I'm stuck in that while true loop. That's in the draw menu, right? So it's going to just keep doing that until I give them a number. Now, if I keep being stupid about this, eventually I'm going to like lose my original menu here. But we won't worry about that. So I'll do a valid choice this time. And there's student 5, Glenn Close, from the menu, and we come back, and here we are. So again, to quit, I'm going to enter a 0. And then it's going to basically quit the program. Now, it doesn't look like we've quit, even though we have. So why don't we just finish that off really quickly? So then here in the main method, way up here at the top, so this gets me out of my loop. So then I'll just go like, I'll do another like c.clear, and then I'll just do like c.println program ended or something like that, just so we have a more dramatic departure from the program. All right, so I'm going to run it just one more time to only test the quitting functionality here. Make sure it works okay. And I'll do one report, just that still works good, didn't break anything there. And 0 to quit, and program is ended. All right, so that's officially the way out. Okay, now if you're a little bit wondering how the formatting of that report card looked, you can sort of see again, like I didn't really go over that too much. Excuse me. But this is a tab for the period, right? So that pushes it over 5. And then here I'm doing 2 tabs to do the average. That's where those spaces are coming from. Okay, we don't do that very often, but that's how we get the spacing. All right, so that's it for this one, guys. It's a wrap. Well done if you got this far. Please pause and take your time to get the code in there. Obviously a little slower than I can show it to you. But when you're done, you are ready to proceed to the last assignment, which is Penny Pinch, one of my favorite programs in this course at this part of the game, stage of the game. All right, so we will see you in the next video.